Hello, guys. So, sorry for the delay. We have been having some technical difficulties. Anyway, we have been waiting for Momia. So, let's see if he turns up. Dhruv is here.
Um,
Okay, so just putting it out there. Anyone among those that are commenting on our stream, anyone that wants to replace Momia uh, for the debate against Dhruv? The topic is very simple actually, so I don't think you would need much time for preparation also. Okay, so all of you need to wait for a bit more. Momia is here. Actually, he had messed up the timelines, I think. So he's getting ready now. He will be joining anytime. Momia will speak on PK. Momia will speak about Kane's individual brilliance for Spurs. I think Momia is very popular. Everybody wants him to speak about something or the other. Still waiting for Momia. Dhruv Bhai almost asleep. I think the audience wants you to speak a bit, Dhruv Bhai.
Downey Shaw says, speak about Richarlison's contribution for Everton and the Spurs. Well, he kept Everton out of relegation for many years, and he has been bench warmer for Spurs so far. Let's see what he does this season. I thought World Cup would have removed the doubts about Richarlison's abilities.
Yeah, he's the next R9. Okay. Uh, okay, guys. So both of our participants are here. So this is our topic for today: individual brilliance versus team cohesion, which is more crucial for a football team's success. Omia is going to speak in favor of individual brilliance, and Dhruv is going to speak in favor of team cohesion. Uh, so since Dhruv has joined first and he has got a bit of a head start on the prep time, so we are going to let him speak first. So before they start, I would just explain the format of the debate. Basically, both of the both of the players would have to uh, divide their speech in three parts: introduction, elaboration, and conclusion. So in the introduction, they both speak uh, about the basics of their logic, uh, which they're trying to establish. In the elaboration part, they uh, elaborate the logic basically. So using hard facts, because this is debate, so you can't just say that this is my opinion, something like that. And in the conclusion, it would be their job to convince all of you that are commenting down below, to convince them that whichever their argument was, that was right. So, and you guys get to decide who wins here. So without further delay, let's start. Dhruv, you can start speaking now.
Okay. So the debate is which of the two is more important to team success. The key word there is success. I don't want people to think the success is winning the league, winning a Champions League, winning the World Cup. Yes, that is success, but success is also a mid-table team getting to a top four. Success is also a second division team coming and getting promoted. So I want to clear that out because that will be key. In the way that a team has to improve, you cannot go. A drastic improvement only takes place when there is a cohesive part of it, when every unit comes up as one. That will be the key point to my argument regarding all this, that success is a relative word. I do not want anyone to think that success is only the ultimate glory of football. Success is relative to what everyone can achieve in there. So, in that regard, I do think that cohesive units are far more important to a team getting, improving, and going the level above than just the individual brilliance.
Okay. So this was it from Dhruv's side for the introduction. So now we will let Momia speak to establish his points for the introduction. You can speak now. Momia, I think you aren't audible. 1 minute. You aren't on mute. Do you perhaps have a headphone that you can use? Because no, he isn't muted, but I think his voice can't be heard. Maybe he needs to use the headphone. Do you have a headphone that you can use? We still can't hear you, I think.
Are you guys able to hear me now?
Yeah, I think we can hear you now. Can you speak again?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You can speak now. We can hear you.
Okay, I managed to fix something in settings, so it should be good now. Okay, so obviously what he spoke about was swear, sorry. Uh, the importance of team cohesion is what I'm opposed to in this debate, although I do more or less agree with that point more, but obviously I'm on the opposing end. What I have to say is I believe that individual brilliance in a team is crucial at different levels, depending on the level of the team and the opposition. But I think that no tournament, if we're talking purely winning, no tournament or team has ever won stuff based on purely team cohesion. There's always been individual brilliance. If you look at, let's say, the worst team on paper to win the Champions League in recent years, like Chelsea 2021, probably the worst team to win the Champions League on paper, obviously, the individual players. But there's still obviously, the team cohesion of Thomas Tuchel and his team, the way they set up, that was most important. You know, other teams had better players, but at the end of the day, there's still individual brilliance involved. Thiago Silva, one of the best defenders at the time. The brilliance of Kante, Mount was good back then. Those individual moments when Chelsea were playing Real Madrid, individual players stepping up, no matter how well the team is gelled. So there's always got to be individual brilliance involved in every team performance. One of the best examples I've seen in recent years of team cohesion has been obviously Argentina at the World Cup. People underrate how individually brilliant those players were. They're just as good as any other nation. The way they stepped up, the individual brilliance of Messi, not only him, Di Maria, Enzo Fernandez. So I think no matter how well a team gels, in order to win stuff, we're not talking a team like Brighton or um, who's a good team that never won anything. Atalanta, for example. Yes, their team was so well gelled, they linked well together, but they didn't have those individual brilliance moments where, to get them through ties. So I think if we're talking about purely winning, individual brilliance is most important. But of course, you don't want a scenario like PSG. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, so both of our participants are done with their introductions. Now we will move on to the elaboration part. So Dhruv would be speaking again. I should remind you again that in this part you would have to basically establish whatever point you said in your introduction. So you would have to convince the audience and state some facts, some hard facts to like which work as examples to show why you are correct. So Dhruv, you can start speaking now. Dhruv, I think we can't hear you.
My bad. Okay, so I heard what Mo had to say, and this is why in my first point I said winning the Champions League is the ultimate glory, winning the World Cup is ultimate glory, but success is always relative. Not every team can have a Champions League win, not every team can have a World Cup win, but still, Mo brought up Chelsea. Chelsea won the Champions League, okay, two seasons ago. Chelsea's top scorer the season they won Champions League was Timo Werner with just 4 goals. Chelsea's second top scorer the season they won Champions League was Kai Havertz with just 3 goals. So there's not individual brilliance involved there. 4 goals is not a lot in a Champions League campaign. He brought up N'Golo Kante's name. Kante is synonymous now with Chelsea's Champions League triumph. Kante started 6 games in the entire Champions League campaign that Chelsea won. It could not have been done without Kante, yes, but it's not like he was above everyone else. Okay, he brought up Argentina. Argentina is good. When Messi, we all know what he did. Every knockout stage he scored. But you, we cannot deny that Argentina's midfield was struggling before they made changes in the group stage. Before they brought in Enzo, they had a system. They had to break it after Saudi Arabia's loss. They worked it in, and they went all the way with a great midfield. Okay, now, these 2 points I wanted to clear about Argentina and Chelsea. It's not about just these two. I would like to go back to my point again that success is relative. Atletico Madrid has never won Champions League. They've won La Liga twice, okay, but you see them where they were before Simeone came. They were not even regular top fours, not even regular top six sometimes. He developed cohesion in the team. Now they are almost always top three, top four. Same can be said. He said Brighton. Brighton cannot win anything, but where were Brighton a few years ago? Now they are in Europe. So that is success. You cannot say that is not success because Brighton has not won anything. And again, I have to say, individual brilliance does raise the floor, the ceiling of the team, but team cohesion always raises the floor. And in the long run, I think if you have a better floor in long run, you are far more likely to succeed. And again, I would like to say success is relative. That that's my point.
Okay, since Dhruv is done, so Mo, you will get 2 minutes if you want to cross-examine him, if you want to question him on any of his points. So you can do that now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to oppose these points because I'm on the opposing end, which I wouldn't normally completely agree with. But if I had to find, counter arguments to what he has to say, it's quite tough. But I would say that, for example, he mentioned Kante only starting 6 games, but it's hard to argue that any other player in his position would have done the role that he did in leading Chelsea to. I mean, he was probably the best player, I'll say, giving them that Champions League. And I mean, no one can play that role that he does. It's individual brilliance. You can't coach that. You can't coach Thiago Silva. I mean, obviously, Thiago Silva is so experienced, so well. Like he integrated so well into the Chelsea team. Um, I mean, you could obviously argue he went off injured in the final, and then you know their defense was just so well structured that anyone could come in and keep a clean sheet. But I just think that even a team like Brighton that doesn't supposedly win, obviously success is relative. Brighton still need to have individual moments if they want to win the big games against the top teams of the league. They can't just. I mean, I suppose they could outplay the other team, but they're gonna need to have those individual moments. Like football is a game of moments. At the end of the day, it's a team sport. So obviously, team cohesion is should be ideal, but it is a game of moments. Especially when deciding tournaments, even deciding something like top four. It's all about moments and individual brilliance for when a player can step up and do it for his team. Uh, yeah, relative to their success, whether it's avoiding relegation. Um, and I mean, we see individual brilliance stand out in every single team. A team like Leicester, that's obviously a team cohesion effort. Half that Leicester team, probably no one ever knew about before the season started. But at the end of the day, the individual brilliance of Vardy, Mahrez, again Kante, funnily enough. Obviously, everyone chips in team cohesion, the tactics from here and there, but at the end of the day, individual brilliance from those two, without them, they would have never won the league. So it's a tough one to argue against because what he's saying is actually ideal in a footballing sense. But yeah, I tried my best. I can't think of what else to say.
Okay. So Dhruv, now would you like to counter any of his points or ask him anything directly? So you can go ahead now.
I think he has been kind of harshly done because the way he's speaking, he is also trying to like bringing the point that team cohesion is important. So I don't think he's speaking anything wrong. Individualness does matter. I just think team cohesion matters more in the long run. Like one man who is a brilliant player can be marked, can be taken out of the game, can even get injured. But if you have team cohesion, that cannot be taken away from you. And I think on some level he agrees. I think he's not even hiding that he's agreeing. So it's kind of harsh on him, but that's all I have to say on this. Not really. He didn't like. He was not really against anything I said, so I cannot really defend anything. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. So Mo, we are coming back to you again. So if you have anything to add, so you can then start speaking either, or else we will move on to the conclusions.
Yeah, so what I would say is, I mean, I could definitely find arguments for my point, but I mean, it's like, would you take a team of individual brilliance, let's say PSG, um, when was it? The season where they got Messi, Hakimi, Wijnaldum, everyone, Donnarumma, obviously, and all the so-called stars of the previous season, and you put them up player for player against a team like, let's say, Chelsea or I mean, think of like even Newcastle now that Eddie Howe's done such a great job. Obviously, you know, in an important game, you could say that Newcastle are the team that gels better. They could win. They could destroy PSG because they're just so well gelled as a team. But at the same time, there's always an argument for Mbappe coming up and scoring against them and knocking them out. Messi, Neymar. It's just you know, it's a mixed bag. Like you'd obviously, just like you said, in the long run, you'd want team cohesion because they can compete for 38 games in a row or 34 if you're in the German league, Champions League, everything. But I'd say individual brilliance, yeah, is more suited to knockout tournaments and like World Cups or, well, perhaps I'd say World Cups is a mix because you need a very, very solid team plus team cohesion. And the Champions League, I mean, look at Real Madrid 2022. I mean, Real Madrid fans themselves, they don't even think that Carlo Ancelotti's tactics are ideal. But look at where it got them in 2022. Vinicius, Benzema, simple individual brilliance. Obviously, you know, they did link up well, but their team cohesion was nowhere near Man City. It was nowhere near, you know, you could even argue even PSG played a lot better than that for 135 minutes out of 180 against them. But individual brilliance took them through. So I'd say it suits knockout football better. You know, the big tournaments like the Champions League. But in the long run, you know, for a league title, consistency, almost like more of a guarantee, then I'd say team cohesion is more important for sure. Yeah, finished.
Okay. So now that both of them are done with their elaborations, and they have sort of they haven't really crossed each other, but uh, as everyone in the comments are also saying, mostly they've agreed with each other in this debate. Anyway, we would move on to the conclusions now, starting with Dhruv, and then we would Mo will conclude the last of his points. So Dhruv, you can start now.
Yeah, like I said, few minutes back that there is like nothing for me to defend here because even he's showing that he shares the same sentiment. I don't think he's like willing to go and say something he does not believes in. I could have done that, but he's not doing so. So not really anything for me to go against or say that he has been wrong about. But that's all. That's all I have to say. Not really. No, not and new question raised in last argument. So not much to say. That's all.
Okay, so Mo, anything you wanna add to conclude?
Yeah, I think that basically, I mean, the argument always, obviously, I'm not, making an excuse. I don't think that if the topic was different, I don't think I would, have an upper hand over him in a debate. I think on like a majority of topics, he would have the better points than me. But I think for this one, for sure, like it's when you first gave the topic, I was hoping like I would get the his one, but it doesn't really make a difference. I can argue for anything, but I would. Yes, I mean, I would agree with him to an extent, but at the same time, I do think that I provided some good examples of why individual brilliance is so important. At the end of the day, um, when you look at the greatest moments in history, that's all I can say that led to trophies. The whole mechanic behind it was obviously the team's brilliance, but there have been more, I'd say, trophies won. Obviously, success is relative, like you said, but there've been more trophies won as a result of individual brilliance than there has been of an average team with just great team cohesion. But then also you could argue that average players coming together and the manager making them link so well turns those players into stars. Like look at Brighton, for example. I mean, individually, as the years goes on, their players get bought as individually brilliant players by the bigger clubs. So it's quite a redundant point from my side, but I'd say I did the best I could for my argument, but hopefully the next time it will favor me better. But I do think he would have the upper hand anyway. I couldn't really disagree with any of these points, and also I hope that everyone could understand me clearly because there's a difference of accents and everything. So I hope everyone heard what I said, and yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, so if both of you are ready, then we would just open the comments for a few Q&A from the audience to both of you now. Okay,
Oh, all
so
Yeah.
right. I didn't even see the comment section.
Mhm.
Oh,
no, I
Yeah.
will highlight the comments here. So
oh, okay. So
does
number
any
one, two, three.
yeah, so there's a question for Dhruv. I will be highlighting it now. So yeah, Dhruv, you can see it.
I don't. I've never been to Liverpool. I don't know how their stadium looks like. No, no real opinion on that.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions that you can write down in the comment section?
I see like one, two, three, four like questions. So I don't know if we should answer that. Do you think? I don't know.
Okay.
Like this guy here asked, who's the third best player of the generation? Most toxic fan base.
Who is the third best player
Okay.
of the
So
generation? Do you
there's
think?
a lot of people are asking more to speak a bit about PK. So anything you want to add about
Um,
PK?
I think PK is, you know, he's probably a little bit better than Maguire, but they're very similar in terms of abilities. Um, he was very good at getting character trophies, which obviously Maguire couldn't get because there's a difference between Pep's Barcelona and obviously Man United that are trying to improve, of course. And obviously Maguire is being pushed out. If they were in similar situations, I think PK would have been the Maguire of the modern day. Now I'm just joking. He's obviously a great defender, but he's not better than Ramos. End of story.
Okay. So let me search for any other good questions that might be there.
Someone asked, where do you rank PK in the list of greatest defenders? I'd say Ramos, 21st century. Okay, so I'm not going to include defenders that retired like just after the year 2000 because I mean it feels like weird to compare Cannavaro and PK because when Cannavaro was ending, PK was starting. So let's just say from when PK started, Ramos is better than PK, Thiago Silva is better than PK, and I'd say maybe
Chiellini,
that's it. I'm not too sure.
Chiellini.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe I'm a bit biased, but it depends. Chiellini didn't have as much opportunities. You know, Spain is this during their career, Spain has been way better than Italy. You can argue, and I mean, Italy being bad had nothing to do with Chiellini. You know, whereas I think
No,
Chiellini
he won Euros.
would
He
do
went to the
just
final and he won the Euros. 2010
yeah, but
Euros,
I
he
mean, he
went to the
didn't.
final.
But I mean, he has no World Cup legacy compared to them. And I mean, Champions League, he doesn't have as much, but Chiellini was really unlucky. I mean, he was excellent in the Champions League. He just lost to Ronaldo and he lost to Modric, Ramos, and then he lost to Emerson and one of the greatest Barcelona teams as well. So he was unlucky. Yeah, for sure.
I think
People are
issue with
laughing, but
PK.
it's facts.
I think one big issue is PK is he peaked too early. I think if you see what was prime of PK's career, I will still say it was when in his early 20s, and he kind
It's
of
same, it's
went
it's
to a
same like
level
Rooney,
that
but I mean,
he couldn't really improve after that. So all now we have is bad memories sometimes.
I know, of
Simple.
course, like recency bias. You remember PK, being terrible in the Champions League knockout stages. But at the end of the day, would he have done better? Like, let's say you replace PK for Varane, would he have been exposed in the team? Probably not. It was also a Barcelona issue. So, but I do think he was the worst defender over years for us. And it's everyone's opinion, but when people say Puyol is not as good as PK, obviously Puyol is not going to be as good on the ball, but at the end of the day, defending is still the most important thing, and I just think Puyol is definitely better than PK.
Okay, so here's
And
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could
another
see
interesting question
you
for
could see
both of
once
you.
Puyol went, PK's game did go down. Even though PK was the better of the two, ability wise, his game did go down once Puyol was gone.
but I mean, ability-wise, you could say like ability-wise, someone like who's the center back right now, great on the ball, but they're not as good. They're better than like Araujo, but they're not better than Araujo. So yeah, I'm just giving you an example. Yeah. There's some more questions up there, like third
Yeah,
best of the
so
generation.
one interesting question that I would highlight now, and Dhruv and Mo both would get turns to speak on that. So here's the question. Dhruv can go first.
Three-peat as in the Champions League. Yeah,
Yeah.
that has to be tougher because sextuple depends on which league are you from. A sextuple for a Premier League team or a La Liga team is kind of tougher than, let's say, Bayern doing it. So I will say three-peat is tougher. Even though three-peat I think have been done by Real Madrid, Ajax, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid in the 50s. Still, I will say three-peat requires a consistency. Sextuple also requires, like, it can happen in one good season, but it depends on league. I'll say three-peat of Champions League is tougher purely because how much competition is there. There is a reason it hasn't been done by anyone other than Real Madrid in like 40 years.
Okay.
Um, I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, as a Barcelona fan, I would ideally say um, winning all six in a season, but it also depends on so many factors, like the competition at the time. I do think that yes, the three-peat happens way less often, and it is, probably more. I'd say it's more rare, more difficult. It's more unique. I don't think anyone's going to do it. Like, I mean, you never know. I mean, I mean, Man City, I don't think that there's many other good teams currently in football right now, as opposed to when Real Madrid did it. I think there were a few more good teams. But I think when we won all six in a season back in the day, there were so many good teams in the world of football. So I'd say it's a similar comparable achievement to three in a row. But Real Madrid, like three in a row, 2016 to 2018. I mean, they were very like they were really good teams at that time. You know, we make fun of even my own club, Bottlers, whatever, but Barca at the time, we were still a good team. We still were capable of winning the Champions League. We just choked it at the end. Whereas, you know, so I would say three in a row is harder, but I do think that us winning six trophies in a season is was very, very, or maybe just as tough because there were so many good teams at that time. Whereas currently now, of course, Man City's levels above everyone, but look at the other teams we have in the world right now. I mean, who else can realistically challenge them? Look at a team like Bayern Munich. You know, they look so strong on paper, but they made a mistake sacking their manager. So I just think that, you know, Liverpool fell off a little bit in terms of competing with Man City. So I just think that, and I mean, what he said about the different leagues, I think it's hard for all leagues. You know, even PSG, maybe not PSG, but even Bayern. You know, they lost to Leipzig. Those cup finals on an off day, you can bottle it easily. Look at us in 2015. You'd think if someone had to tell you Barcelona won five trophies, you'd think, oh, they didn't win the Champions League or one of the hardest ones. But we lost to Valverde's Bilbao. I think that was what stopped us from winning the sextuple again. So you know, an off day, it's tough. It's tough to win it because you can have an off day like that, despite having such a good team, and then you're done. And then you have like you know, Man City. You think, oh, they're gonna win everything, but they lost their game to Southampton, but they won everything else. Real Madrid didn't win a sextuple they because of Danilo costing them in a Copa del Rey game. So you have to be focused in all formats. I think it's hard. They're both as hard, but I'd say three in a row is more unique. Like I know Barcelona fans will disagree with me, but I think we're going to see a lot more trebles and sextupples. Maybe not sextupples, but trebles. But three in a row is very hard to get. But as I said, the current teams in world football aren't that great, so who knows? Man City might get two in a row.
Okay, so it's getting a bit late now, at least for those of us in
Yeah,
India,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we have
Sorry,
a
guys. I was only available. I was only available at this time. Sorry, guys.
yeah, no problem.
For sure. For sure in the future I'll be I mean for you I'd say a reasonable time for you guys is 9:10, which is just after university for me, so it should be good.
So there's just one last question. We will uh, go to Dhruv and Momia for 1 minute each, rapid fire, and after that we will end today's debate. So I'm highlighting it.
Huh?
So
Okay, yeah.
so here's the
Oh,
question,
sorry, sir.
Dhruv. Yeah. So Dhruv can take it first. You got 1 minute, and after that Momia will take over. Haaland versus Mbappe. Your take on the debate.
Stuck.
Yeah, I think Dhruv is having some connectivity issues, maybe. So Mo, you can take the question.
I think maybe my connection is also a bit bad because I have, you know, my other roommates, they also on FIFA and they're doing work and stuff, but I think it should be working. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Haaland versus Mbappe, for me, it's an easy answer. You know, I think they're obviously so good. I think they're going to win at least. I mean, I don't know. The career decisions Mbappe is making, you never know. But I do think that he can win a Ballon d'Or without PSG. He can just win it based off having such a good year. And he's just such a good player. Like, realistically, who's the best footballer in the planet? It's Mbappe, no doubt. But I think Haaland's geared up to win more right now. if Messi doesn't win the Ballon d'Or, it's obviously going to be Haaland, and I think they're going to end up with a couple Ballon d'Ors each. But I think Mbappe is just a better player, but it's all about personal preference. Yeah. Huh? Okay, I'm gonna come now. Can I take like 5 minutes? I'm on a. Okay, okay, I'm just coming now. I'm just closing off. I'm just closing off. Um, sorry guys, I have to um go somewhere now. Can I just end off and then leave?
Yeah, sure, sure.
I prefer Mbappe. But I think it's personal preference. But I think the majority of football fans will say Mbappe. He's just ability-wise better, and I mean, but Haaland did make the perfect career choice. There's no better place to be. So that's all I have to say. But I think Mbappe will go down as a better player. But you never know. He's doing some stupid ththings with these career choices. So we'll see. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank
I
you,
really
Mo,
appreciate this.
for taking
It
the
was lots
time
of
to
fun. Thank you.
take part in the debate. Yeah, so the
Great,
debate
guys.
actually got a bit livelier in the end, and thanks to everyone for participating in this in the comments. And actually, we would like to urge you from the like for all the modmins actually, if you could take part in the debate that we have actually organized between fan bases. So if you could let me know the teams. I think Man City team was already ready. The others have to just step up,
Thank you,
and
guys.
since a lot of you are here, you are debating amongst yourselves. So maybe we could have a lafra like this, and if three versus three fights are there, then uh, probably this would be far better. So until next time, I would be closing off now. Bye.